Good afternoon and welcome to the Small Business Town Hall. I'm so glad that you're joining us today. As always, we have some very important information for our small business community here in the state of Rhode Island. And we are going to be listening important information. We're going to hear from directors from the different departments that are joining us today. So as always, we have information that comes directly from Washington, that comes from Director Mark Hayward, who is the Director of the Small Business Administration here in Rhode Island. And I think the director is going to have some type of breaking news today, so I can't wait to bring him on board and see what is happening, what is the latest information that's coming directly from Washington to us. So let's bring up Director Mark Hayward. Director?
Hello, Governor. It's great to see you again. And yes, believe it or not, news that just crossed the wire, it was sent to the district offices about 9 minutes ago, and it comes from the administrator, and the press release will be going out hopefully within the next, we're just making some local changes to it, but SBA is issuing a press release and announcement to extend the deferment of all economic injury disaster loans that were made in 2020, 2021, and 2022 to 30 months from the date of the note. And that's really important, Governor. So those individuals who need additional time, the agency has now provided the additional time. And we were getting to that point, as you well know, we're 2 years into it. And a lot of the loans actually started in March and April. In May, so they now have an additional 6 months before they will have to pay anything down on the loan. Having said that, the deferment will go into effect immediately, and all of the borrower can still make either partial or full payments. It's totally dependent upon what they are comfortable with. And the reason why I say this is because the interest payments will continue to accrue. It's what we call force majeure, which all of the interest will go to the back of the loan. But if you do not have the ability to pay principal and interest, Governor, you don't have to pay it for the first 30 months. And I really think that for some businesses, that's really critical. The borrowers, like I said, may pay full or partial payments depending upon their situation. The SBA will not send out monthly notices on payment. So people need to be aware of when they got the loan and when they're going to have to start repaying. Existing COVID idle borrowers can find their account balances and the payments due at the SBA Capital Access Financial Systems site. They would go on to the CAFS system and log into their particular loan, and it will give them all of the information that they need. It's really critical because when the agency is looking at the ability to extend small businesses beyond certain points, we, as Governor, you and I have talked, we're particularly looking for small retail, hospitality, manufacturers who are having some issues right now. And I think it's tremendous that the agency has stepped up once again to defer these loans because they are loans and they will have to be repaid. But we want to make sure that people are up on their feet and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Having said that, we also are offering, Governor, additional assistance through the Small Business Development Center and SCORE. And we tell people all the time, you know, it's businesses don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And this is an opportunity. If you're looking at certain criteria, you need financial system, you need financial help, you need marketing help, you know, and Ben, thank you very much, Ben. They have put up the website, contact us. We have great partners in the SBDC and SCORE. In fact, I'm meeting with the SBDC state director in about an hour, and we're going to talk about additional things as it relates to that. So there's a lot going on. Now, on the other side of that, Governor, put in your book, June 23rd, we're going to go to Block Island.
June 23rd. Okay.
June 23rd. So what we normally do is we go to Block Island a couple of weeks before the 4th of July. Technically, their season is from the 4th until Labor Day. But we like to go a couple of weeks before, Governor, because we know that a lot of the owners of the businesses are back on the island. Some of them go away for the winter. They have businesses in other parts of the country. So that's a great opportunity. So we'd love for you to join us. We have a number of lenders that are going to go over with us.
Perfect.
And our portfolio on Block Island, Governor, has just bloomed. So there's a lot of businesses that have SBA 504 loans or 7A loans. And I really do think that there are great opportunities for us to have a dialogue with the business community and say, okay, this is what we've done to date. What can we do more to help you? And that's really what we're aiming for. In addition to that, Governor, we're going to have, for the first time in 2 years, we're going to have the Rhode Island Salute to Small Business. It's coming back. It's going to be at the Quinnesset Country Club. It's lunch on the 3rd of May, Tuesday, the 3rd of May. I can't announce the winners as of yet. Possibly on our next small business show that we do, I will be able to tell everybody all the winners. Right now, we have 9 fantastic winners here in Rhode Island that will just blow your mind. I mean, they are above and beyond. You talk about people who persevere and who know how to negotiate during difficult times. We are very impressed, and we're very thankful for everything. We had a lot of nominations, Governor, and these 9 individuals are we're looking forward to honoring on May the 3rd. Of course, we have our congressional luncheon, congressional breakfast on May the 2nd, because all of our members of Congress, we like to have them participate before they go back to Washington. So that'll be on the Monday. Tuesdays for everybody else. And then we always do when we say Small Business Week, Governor, the district office here in Rhode Island, only because we're overachievers, we try to do something each and every day during Small Business Week. So stay tuned. That we'll be back for that. The other thing is technical assistance and training is critical. So now and you know that I'm an alumnus of Providence College, and we're very proud that our Friars are seated 4th in the Midwest. And congratulations to Bryant University as well. And we do what's called March Madness for small business. So every single day we have 1 or 2 seminars that we are doing and it's done by SCORE and the Women's Center and the SBDC and our partners at Social Greenhouse, who are our navigators, or our navigators, our spokes will do them every single day during March, not Sundays, of course. But we do an event, a training session that small businesses may be interested in. So a lot of information today, Governor.
A lot of information. And then we started with breaking news. So thank you so much for that breaking news. That's wonderful.
And we are going to push out the press release. I actually have it right here. We're just doing a couple little things to it, and it'll be pushed out. But no, it really is great news that people get a little bit more time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Director. And we're going to go now from the information from the small business community, from the federal government. And we're going to go now to information at the local level with the Secretary of Commerce, Stephen Pryor, who joined us. So we just had breaking news. Can you beat that?
I can't beat Director Hayward, not any day of the week. Well done, Director, and good to be with you, Lieutenant Governor.
Good to be with you also, Secretary.
Lieutenant Governor.
Yes, tell us how things are going right now.
Very happy to, Lieutenant Governor. Wanted to focus on 2 things. One is for those businesses that have applied for the Governor and Lieutenant Governor's Rhode Island Rebound Small Business Grants. Those are the up to $5,000 grants. I just wanted to offer some reminders. And then I wanted to transition and talk about the Impacted Industries program that opens tomorrow, Wednesday. First, on the issue of the Rhode Island Rebound Small Business Grants, if you are an applicant and you are wondering how you're doing in the process, where you are in the process, checks are already going out.
Okay,
so if you've received a check, you know where you stand. But if you're trying to figure out, am I fully complete? Have I completed my SAM.gov registration? Yeah. I'm going to come back to that. A couple things. If you're wondering and you need some more information, you can email us at info@commerceri.com. Email us at info@commerceri.com to figure out where you stand in your application process. We'll do our best to figure it out. Even better, though, we have a portal where you can check in on your own status for the Rhode Island Rebound Small Business Grants
great.
if you've applied. And that's commerceri.com/RI Rebounds. Ben, I know you have that from the previous broadcasts. commerceri.com/RI Rebounds. Go into the portal that is regarding the small business grants, and you can check on your own status. That's the best way.
That's the
And
best
then
way,
you can
yeah.
email us at info@commerceri.com and try to find out. Lieutenant Governor, the number one thing that people need to complete in order to be processed for their checks is the federally required sam.gov registration. Just a reminder to everyone, if you've applied for the RI Rebounds small business grants, as for every other grant program in the United States, every other grant program funded by American Rescue Plan dollars, the feds are requiring businesses to register with sam.gov. Now, a couple things about that. Number one is today we have a webinar on how to make sure you have registered properly through sam.gov. We're doing that with our friends and partners at SBDC. It's 2 p.m. today, a webinar on sam.gov registration. Go onto the commerceri.com website and you'll get all the information on how to participate in that webinar. If you're already in the sam.gov registration process and you're wondering about some aspect of it, or if you haven't started yet, or if you're preparing for the new program we're announcing Wednesday, check out the 2 p.m. webinar. I want to point out there's something in the sam.gov process called the UEI portion of the registration that is not the completion of the process. And I just want to point out to people who are already in it and know what I'm talking about, that is not the total set of things you got to do. Unfortunately, doing UEI is not enough. You've got to get all the way through to registration. So I just want to put that out there. Now, one other pointer on sam.gov and making sure that we can get you your checks if you applied in the RI Rebound Small Business Grant Program. You need to, in your sam.gov registration, check the box or otherwise mark that you are willing for your registration to appear as a public search result, meaning it has to become public that you are registered in sam.gov, that your business is, so that our processors of your checks can find the file. Otherwise, they can't see it. It's private. And so that we can process your checks. So very importantly, if you've just done the UEI part, not enough.
Not enough.
And if you have not allowed us to see in the public search results your filing, not enough. Please go back into sam.gov, find your registration, and authorize it to be seen publicly. None of these things are by state of Rhode Island's design. This is true across the whole nation. These are the federal requirements.
Yeah.
And we are grateful that people are going through this to get their checks. We want to get you your up to $5,000 checks. So if any of this was too much information or you didn't have a pen or you just need to clarify something else about registering with sam.gov, 2 p.m. today, we have a webinar on the topic. I will also note that yesterday we did a Facebook Live about the Impacted Industries program. And in the second half of that, we went over sam.gov. And that Facebook Live already lives on our Facebook page, the Commerce RI web Facebook page. Lots of ways to get help on doing sam.gov, the federally required step to get grants. So now, Lieutenant Governor, if I may, I want to move on to that new program. May I do that?
Perfect.
So thanks to advocacy from many business groups and the leadership of the governor and lieutenant governor in partnership with Speaker Shekarchi and President Ruggiero in the Senate, we have an impacted industry program. That impacted industry program is for 3 categories of business. The program starts tomorrow, and I'm going to talk about the fundamental requirements. We went over this last week, or whenever our last session was, last week, recently.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. 3 categories of businesses that are eligible for these additional grants that are generally bigger than the $5,000 grants that we're awarding through the RI Rebound Small Business Grant Program. 3 categories: restaurants, event-related organizations, and valet operators. So restaurants and events. Hotels, travel agents, tour guides, and tour operators. Hotels and travel. Arts and cultural organizations, arts and culture. Those are the 3 categories. Restaurants and events, hotels and travel, arts and culture. If your business fits into one of those categories, you should check out the information at commerceri.com on this program for impacted industries. The fundamental way it works is as follows. The main requirement is that your business experienced a 35% revenue loss as you compare your 2021 revenue to your baseline 2019 revenue. So 2019 versus 2021, 35% revenue loss or more. That requirement is one that we worked on with some of the organizations that helped us and advised us, and we reached out to businesses and made sure that there were businesses that did have such losses. It should be noted, of course, we'd like to offer more aid to everyone.
Yeah.
We set the bar at these 35%, at this 35% level, because we want to make sure that we prioritize the businesses that have been hardest hit. And because at this point in time, the program only has $8 million for the entire state. Now, Governor McKee and you, Lieutenant Governor, have advocated for and placed in the governor's budget a request for more money in the coming fiscal year, but that's not the program right now. We are asking for more money, but we only have $8 million for all 3 categories of businesses across the whole state, which is why we have to go with the hardest hit first. If we are undersubscribed and we can drop the 35% threshold, we will. But right now, if you think you're eligible, you should apply, and apply starting tomorrow. So let me tell you the time period once again. If you're in the restaurant, event, hotel, travel, or arts and cultural areas with your business, you can apply from tomorrow, March 16th, through to the closing date of Wednesday, April 6th. You have to be a Rhode Island business or nonprofit in some cases operating before January 27th, 2020 in those 3 industry areas. And you have to have that revenue loss of 35% or greater 2019 versus 2021. Now, you know what the next thing is that I'm going to say is also a requirement. SAM.gov registration. Yes. Across the whole country in all the American Rescue Plan programs for businesses must be registered in the federally required SAM.gov process. So one more time, in case you're just tuning in or in case now you're thinking, okay, I am in an impacted industry, I'm going to apply for that program. Take a look at your revenue loss and see if it's 35% or greater, 2021 versus 2019. That's how you can prepare today for the opening of the process tomorrow. And please start your SAM.gov registration process. Please go on to the commerceri.com website. There's information on registering for SAM.gov. There is yesterday's webinar on the Impacted Industry Program that lives on the Commerce RI Facebook page. We had a session on the Impacted Industry Program I just described briefly and on SAM.gov in the second half. There's also a 2 p.m. technical assistance session webinar today, along with our partners at SBDC on SAM.gov registration. So that concludes my information for today, Lieutenant Governor. We're so pleased to be bringing yet another program forward to help our businesses get through the pandemic.
Thank you, Secretary. Could you please repeat the amount that businesses can apply for?
Yes, it varies based upon the category, but for the highest categories in hotels, for example, it's actually $250,000. Okay. So very substantial for the larger institutions that are critical to our hospitality industry. And there are smaller amounts, for example, $12,500 for restaurants, for example. If you want to know the amount that your particular business could receive in this program, check out commerceri.com.
Okay, great. And Ben has been providing the links, and also our team has been sharing information in the chat also. So make sure that you get that those links so you can go straight to their website what the information is. So thank you, Secretary, for that information. This is so important that our small business community know where they can go to
Definitely.
find support and resources in our tourism industry has suffered so much, and we need to make sure that we help them get back on their feet, because
Yes.
they bring a lot of resources to the state of Rhode Island. So we have to make sure that they're strong. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
With that, now we're going to talk about employment and see how the workforce is doing. And for that, we have the Director of the Department of Labor and Training, Director Matt Weldon. Director Weldon, how are we doing? How's we doing with employing, getting people back to work in the state of Rhode Island?
We're doing pretty well. How are you doing, Governor?
Really good.
All right, good. Rhode Island remains competitive with the region when it comes to our economic recovery. We've heard from the governor and Commerce Secretary Pryor about how we're leading the Northeast, and that's great. And in Southern New England, we're in a regional economy really with Connecticut, Mass, and Rhode Island, and we have the lowest unemployment rate still of the three. And so for January's rate, Rhode Island was at 4.2%. Again, 4.2%. We're getting there. We're getting much better. We peaked at 18.4% during the pandemic.
Wow.
And so we've come way down, which is great. Massachusetts had a big drop in December, but that was revised back up. It seemed like it was maybe a little over ambitious. And so their rate now is at 4.8%. So we're still 0.6 of a point ahead of them. And Connecticut's at 5.3%. And the U.S. rate for January was 4%. So Rhode Island was 4.2, and the United States as a country was 4%. They've now released their February rate, so the U.S. is down to 3.8. Next week, we'll release, I believe it's next week, the Rhode Island number for February. So we'll see where we're at. Jobs in 2021 rebounded a little better than we had thought month over month. And because we go back in every year, and these monthly data that I give is all done by surveys, household surveys and business surveys. And then what happens is actual job data comes in through wage records and other surveys, and we're able to true up the data. And so we saw that we did pretty well. That's why that number for December that originally we had reported at 4.5%, I'm sorry, at 4.8% had dropped to 4.5%. So all good stuff. Rhode Island's economy is headed in the right direction. I think we're going to continue to see growth in the coming months. We're talking about getting close to full employment again, which is typically between 4 and 5%. We're 4.2%. Hopefully we'll have a sub 4% unemployment rate this year, and I think we will, and relatively soon. And even as important as that, if not more, is to keep regaining the jobs that we lost during the pandemic. During the pandemic, we lost 108,000 jobs in Rhode Island. We've regained 81% of those. And so we need to keep plugging away and to keep seeing growth. Accommodation and food services, which is our hospitality industry that you were just talking about, they've regained a lot of the jobs that they lost, but they were obviously disproportionately impacted.
They were.
So they lost a ton of jobs. They're regaining those jobs now, and that's a good thing. We had a slight dip last month. I think we'll see that correct itself in the coming months. But generally, things are headed in the right direction. One of the things that I'm super proud of that we offer is the Real Jobs Rhode Island program, the job training initiatives that we run through DLT, which really is just a fancy way to say that we take money that's allocated by the state government and the federal government, and we give it to different entities to run their own job training. And it's proven to work over time. We've talked about that quite a bit. And the governor's budget has a significant amount of money for job training and ARPA funds going forward. That's all very good. And I got to get out last week and witness some of that work. And what I was able to see is with Lisa Ranglin and the Rhode Island Black Business Association, they had their graduating class from their Emerging Leaders program that we funded. What a fantastic opportunity that was to see
great.
A couple of dozen people of color, talk about the opportunity that they had to work together to realize their strengths and to set their course to really, make their future bright when it comes to their career. So many people had such great things to say, and really I got to see the passion that they had and the positivity that they bring to what they're doing. That's exactly what we're trying to fund through Real Jobs. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that. And just quickly before I take questions, I know you're going to ask me about Workshare, so I'm going to tell you there are 54 companies on Workshare right now, which, by the way, is still probably 5 times as many as we had pre-pandemic.
Wow.
Just about that. So we're still pretty busy with Workshare. If you want to find out more information about Workshare, go to DLT's website at dlt.ri.gov. There's a ton of information available. I am going to be working with a work group to update Workshare a little bit more and to make it more user-friendly. We did a lot of work on that a couple of years ago, and now through the pandemic, we saw how great of a program it was. It was able to help a lot of companies hang on in a very difficult time. We're going to bring that program into the future, make it easier to use, and hopefully let people know it's a great tool when they need it. It's not a recurring part of their economic plan in their business. It's really meant to be that last tool in the toolbox to help you out at a time that's needed. But we're going to work on that. And in unemployment and TDI, it's status quo. About 9,300 people on unemployment and about 6,700 on TDI. Just before the pandemic, about 10,000 people on unemployment. So we're right back to where we were pre-pandemic levels.
Thank you, Director. I continue to talk to small business that I run into about Workshare. And I try to explain to them that this is not something that they're going to rely on as a part of their business model, but it could be a tool that they can use to make sure that they can continue to keep their employees engaged when they're going through a tough phase. Sometimes they have employees that have been with them for a long time, and they don't want to lay them off, or they don't want to take the chance of losing an employee that already have the skills that you need in your business and have to retrain someone new. So Workshare is give you that opportunity to continue to have that employee engaged while you're going through the tough time and getting your business back and running. So take a look at the Workshare program in the website of the Department of Labor and Training. So thank you, Director. Also, about what you were saying earlier, Governor McKee always reminds us that we are the first state in the Northeast, and Secretary Pryor also mentioned this often. The state of Rhode Island, we are number 1 in the Northeast for recovery, and we're 4th on the country for recovery. So, and that is because we're getting people back to work. There are people connecting back to work, making sure that we are supporting the small business community so they're able to hire employees and get people back working with them, and that keep the economy of the state moving. So thank you, Director, for everything that you're doing to make sure that is possible. I saw you this week also at the event of the coalition of the providers of services for the small business community.
That's right.
We're so glad to see you there and supporting that partnership, because they are the ones that are hiring individuals in our community. So thank you for your support also.
Absolutely.
For that coalition. So Director, thank you so much. Now we're going to go to Chris Parisi, who's going to give us, we're going to hear directly from him about what's happening with the small business community. And Chris, I got to do a check to the comments. I know that we have, Tina has been very active in the chat and the comments, giving us some feedback and reminding us always to remember to make our small businesses ADA compliant. And she's always available to help us with that. So thank you, Tina, for always turning in. So Chris, tell me what is happening.
Hello, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for having me on here, and good to see you. I missed the program last time, but
we miss you.
Glad to be back. So in the small business community, there's been a lot of chatter about the RI rebounds programs that Secretary Pryor laid out well. You probably heard him say sam.gov a million times.
Yes.
Because that's been one of the big issues. As he mentioned, this is a federal obligated compliance, nothing that Secretary Pryor or the other state, wanted to have, because it just increased the hurdles that we needed to do. And they wanted to have a grant process that was as streamlined as possible. So make sure small businesses take advantage of those webinars and support that they have. Make sure your sam.gov is registered and you have it prepared for not only the grant program that was closed, but there's the new one tomorrow. It opens up tomorrow. Yes. So make sure to go to commerceri.com/RI rebounds. And that way, if you're in the hospitality, tourism, restaurants, events, hotels, this is the one for you. When they call it the hard hit industries, hospitality, tourism, and events. So make sure you get prepared, get your SAMS.gov number registered so that when you apply tomorrow, when it opens up, you'll be good to go and it could be as streamlined as possible. Another comment we got about this grant program coming up, 35%, that's a high threshold for revenue loss. We totally understand, we agree, but here's the thing, there was only $8 million for this program. Yeah. Although it may seem a lot for us small businesses, when you spread it out to hundreds and thousands of small businesses, it doesn't add up to too much. So we understand they're thinking, hey, let's start at a high number threshold. And if there's any money left over, maybe we can drop it. But let's really focus on the hard hit businesses that lost 35% or more in revenue comparing 2021 to 2019. So make sure everyone go ahead, get your SAMS.gov and apply, and Commerce has a whole team ready to help you out with any questions. The other notes that we have, Lieutenant Governor, is that we'll actually be chatting tomorrow, and we're excited to bring back the Lieutenant Governor's Entrepreneur Challenge.
Yes.
So this is stuff that we've done with Lieutenant Governor McKee in the past. I'm on the board of Millennial Rhode Island. And it's a partnership with Millennial RI and the Lieutenant Governor's office to really help those young entrepreneurs. And when we say young, we're talking about high schoolers.
That's right.
So yeah, I was a judge for the past few, and there is some brilliant young talent out there. And the fact that the Lieutenant Governor's office has done this for so long, it's a great testament to supporting our young entrepreneurs that will eventually become small business owners, afterwards. So looking forward to talk more about that and supporting our young entrepreneurs. And then our other update for the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition, as Ben has on there to join our coalition, is that we're taking the next step in our evolution. So we've been doing this for 2 years now, advocating from a completely volunteer basis. And it's been a lot of work that we are very happy and grateful to do to support our small businesses. And the next step is to develop this portal where we can connect the businesses with each other, with the government services, with business support organizations out there, and really have a membership-driven organization so that we can do even more for our small businesses, provide that technical assistance to help them adapt and grow and change, and really continue to have Rhode Island be a more small business friendly state, as the governor and you and Secretary Pryor have taken steps towards in the past year or two. Let's continue that trend and make Rhode Island a small business destination.
Thank you, Chris. So that was your breaking news for today, right?
Yes.
Look at that.
That's
Ben
funny.
has the breaking news sign.
That's for Director Mark Hayward. He had breaking news earlier in your program, and I may have breaking news soon, though. Shout out to my wife, Megan Parisi. She is a tough, strong woman that's about to have our first child any day now.
Oh, wow.
So the due date's today. So I'm still on this program, but I may have to jet off in any minute now. And
I'm surprised that you're here right now. So.
Hey, I love small businesses. This is an important program, and happy to be here while I still get some sleep.
Wow. No, I'm so happy for you and your wife. That's going to be some breaking news that we're waiting to hear for sure. So I just want to also say that what you mentioned about the entrepreneurs program, I'm so looking forward to having that meeting with all of you and getting that program going, because it's so important for us to connect with our high school students. They have some wonderful ideas, and I can't wait to hear what they have been waiting for to present to us. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. That, if you're going to be in the meeting tomorrow. Depends on what happens if you're not in the hospital at that time.
All right. I
So
should be there tomorrow morning. If not, you know why.
I will know why. I will know why. No, thank you. And also, I just want to thank for giving feedback to us in the state of Rhode Island. The Small Business Coalition has been very active in giving us feedback. With the grants that were announced, we heard several feedbacks, and it came through all of you. Some of them came directly to us about the 35%, about the year. So I just want to let you know we're listening to your feedback. I know there was some feedback about the years. So we're looking at the 2020 and we're looking at 2019. So we're listening. So keep those feedback coming. We are doing our best to integrate all your feedback into the programs that we're developing. So please keep that information coming. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just saying thank you. And this administration has been great at listening and really being as connected to as possible to the small business community. And my suggestion, based on your point, is to all the small businesses owners out there to continue to get involved. Just because COVID's slowing down doesn't mean our mightiness to transform small business has to slow down. We actually have to pick it back up. So join the coalition so we can hear what you're feeling, so that we can communicate it to this administration that truly listens and cares about our small business.
Thank you, Chris. And before you go, I just want to talk about this. There are programs that I like to mention that they may seem that they're not connected to a small business, but they are. I always like to remind everyone about the rent relief RI programs and why it's connected to small businesses, because you may have some workers right now that may have lost income, or maybe the workers that you had that had to be laid off for some time during this pandemic. If they are renters, they qualify for assistance through the rent relief RI, that it can help them pay the mortgages, their rents if they're behind, pay for their utilities if they're behind. And also we have the program available for the homeowners, which is also through the Rhode Island Housing. And this is program specifically for the Homeowners Assistance Relief Fund. This is going to help you pay in your mortgage if you are behind with your mortgage, but also if you owe taxes, you're able to apply also to pay the taxes to the municipalities if you owe taxes. And this is if you are a small business and an owner and you lost income because your business was suffering during the pandemic, you will qualify to apply for this funding that's going to help you pay your mortgage, and also is going to help you pay the taxes in your property. Again, this is in your home where you live, where you reside. It's going to help you with that, and it's going to help you also pay for utilities if you are behind with your utilities. So make sure you visit Rhode Island Housing, get the link to the home relief information for renters and for homeowners. This is very important. It could be you, the homeowner, the small business community that are watching this right now, to assist you with your home where you live. But it could be also your employees that where you have to lay off during the pandemic in this last 2 years. So make sure that they know that these resources are available to them. So with that, I just want to say thank you, Chris. Best of luck. So keep me posted. I want to see that. Text me that picture as soon as it's available.
I certainly will. And thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for all you do.
Thank you, Chris. All right, so friends, I just want to say thank you once again for joining us for another very important conversation about resources that are available for the small business community here in the state of Rhode Island. We love to get your feedback. Please make sure that you continue to send us your emails with your feedback and information, and we're listening and we're taking into account your feedback, incorporating that in the programs that are being developed. With that, I want to wish you a good afternoon and see you next time.